Welcome to our water sensitive essay seminar for today, A Line in the Sediment. My name is Belinda Dohring. I'm the program manager for water sensitive essay, and I will be your host for today's event. I'd like to firstly start by acknowledging that I'm coming to you today from the land of Kaurna people, and I acknowledge that this is their traditional land, and I pay respect to their spiritual relationship with their country. And I also acknowledge the Kaurna people as custodians of the Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna today. And I pay respects to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting or attending from other areas of Australia and South Australia. Well, welcome everybody. We have a great lineup of speakers today for A Line in the Sediment. Our speakers have got some great experience dealing with sediment, um, ecological impacts of silting creeks, how industry practices are changing, perspective on watercourse health and catchment care. So I'd like to say thank you to Kathy, Kerry, Leon, and Nadia for your time on this session today. So this is the program for today. We have over 120 people joining us on this webinar today from right across Australia, working in roles such as compliance and local council, water sensitive urban design practitioners, a lot of people from state government departments of water environment, and also stormwater authorities. Later on in today's session, you'll be able to get into some nitty gritty and questions with our presenters. So stay tuned for that later on in our session. So a little bit about Water Sensitive SA. We're a capacity building program that works amongst government, industry and the community to mainstream water sensitive outcomes. And we do this by bridging research into water quality, water sensitive urban design best practice, water economics, with practitioners who can adopt new techniques. We also support on-ground projects by promoting and communicating them collectively and sharing knowledge between our South Australian partners in the policy, engineering and sustainability fields relating to water sensitive urban design. As I was preparing for this seminar today, I was having a think about my role with sediment in my career, and I kind of realised that I've actually been working in this space for quite a long time. So when I started my career more than 20 years ago, I worked at the South Australian Environment Protection Authority, and my role was to communicate the newly adopted South Australian water quality policy and working with industry to identify their risks to contravening the policy. And I remember this one term, and it clearly still sticks out in my mind, that we used to repeatedly note in all of our correspondence. And that was that you cannot put pollutants into waters or onto land where it is reasonably likely to enter water. And so that's where it first started for me. And you can see there it's actually class 1 pollutants are listed as an offence under the Environment Protection Authority's regulations. So then I moved from the EPA to a role in educating small business on stormwater pollution impacts and going to their premises and talking to them about how they can improve their practices. And again, I remember talking to them about you can't put things near or on stormwater drains where spills and items are likely to enter the waters. And then when I began in local council, I started working out in the field, visiting construction sites where we had complaints about drag out, assessing soil erosion drainage management plans. And I used to go out on site and I used to say to the builders and the construction guys, you can't put soil, your stockpiles, mulch, where it's likely to enter waters. And then lately at the City of Adelaide, where I am currently working, we've been doing a lot of work looking at pollutant loads in our stormwater catchments. And so what you can see there is a map of the City of Adelaide broken down into our drainage catchment networks. And when we ran our models for our catchment, we noticed that that catchment 4 down in the bottom corner there, which is in our southeastern corner of our city, it generates the largest load of sediment. So you can see there the different value of tonnages that are coming across our catchment areas. And then the other day, I got a call from our city ops manager, and he said, Belinda, we've got this silt island that's appeared in the River Torrens, and I need to do something about it. And I said, okay, well, can you show me, exactly where in the river the silt is? So he pointed out to me, and you can hopefully see on my screen there the little red circle depicting where the silt island is, and that's in the middle of Carrawirra, which is our major watercourse through the centre of Adelaide. And I looked at his picture and I was like, that's interesting, because what I know about the catchment upstream from here is that there's a discharge point where the yellow star I've just put up is directly from catchment 4. And so when we looked at our stormwater catchment drainage network again, this is again our drainage network map, catchment 4 showing there. You can see by the star where the discharge point into our main watercourse is. Here's the watercourse, Botanic Creek, that's moving those pollutants through the urban area straight down and upstream of that silt island. There's another picture of Botanic Creek there. Interestingly, that silt island that's reappeared in the Torrens River was removed about 5 years ago. So it's only taken 5 years for that silt to reconvene in that location. And of course, it's part of a bigger, wider urban catchment, but we can directly relate some of that deposition to the Botanic Creek catchment area. So Botanic Creek watercourse is highly degraded, and when we walked along there, we noticed the amount of silt and material that had been deposited into that watercourse from its local catchment areas. And we're currently working on a project to improve this watercourse and the overall catchment for the Carrawirra. And I suppose what it means is that I feel like I'm still dealing with sediment in local catchments and urban watercourses throughout my whole career. So this seminar is a good sort of next step in terms of talking about how we can, make some moves around sediment for South Australia. Um, while we continue to invest in streetscape water sensitive urban design to help us mitigate some of these urban catchment pollutants, what we want to make sure is that our biofilters and our WUSID assets are also protected from being swamped by silt, because this ends up destroying their value and their life cycle. So the more silt we can collect prior, or prevent, I should say, before it enters into our natural environment, the better our WUSID assets are going to perform, and the more ecological benefits our urban watercourses are actually going to receive from the work that we do.